We're at the Taproot Bar in Chicago where we meet once a week, and George Malley, we're happy to know, no longer suffers from the leg trouble he had, and the root beer seems pretty good, especially the ice. And Jim Hogan is working for this magazine. Things seem to be tight, but he's still holding on. Della Ruther, who's been working since she was 13 years old, has found her dream house in Phoenix, Arizona. And Mike Lavelle is working, talking, arguing, and we're happy to know that his wife Carol and Mike have their second baby, William Dan. Congratulations to him. Let it be a good world for William Dan. And Ann Guerrero married her oldest daughter, and Ann is still in there, being Ann Guerrero, surviving very beautifully. Leon Beverly is still working for the Packing House Workers Union. He's worked there most of his life as a guy in the yards themselves, and now he's a representative. And what is Mike Lavelle's dream?
My fantasy dream is
to be a big
I
capitalist.
read Arthur Schlesinger one time where he said all the American working man wants to do is go to bowling. You know, intellectuals have a thing about bowling. I'd like to own a bowling alley, have Gore Vidal and Arthur Schlesinger as pin boys, and Spiro Agnew coming by every week. You know, vote. Here we go. But seriously, now, when I was single, I had no aspirations, no dream. All I wanted then was cold beer, warm woman, place to lay my head. That'd be enough. You know, maybe something to eat.
What do you want?
But now I have children.
Right.
So I want my own home because I want to have the privacy to nail holes in a wall if I feel like it, because they're my walls. 4 o'clock in the morning because I got no neighbors telling me I can't, you know. I want that kind of privacy. And I want the backyard with the barbecue, the whole schmear. That's what I want.
That's why I got my home in Phoenix.
I don't want 2 homes, I want 1. I don't want 2 cars, I want 1.
It's hard to
I
believe
want
that's
one
your
color
big
TV.
thing.
It is. That's my big thing. And also to come by and talk to you.
Would you
and get
like
excited
to
every
see your
once in a while.
son go in the
Everybody here.
war? Would you like to
Wait,
see your
Della
son
asked
go
you
in
something.
the
The whole
war
conversation
in
is
some
a
foreign
contradiction.
country?
Of course not. I went, but, you know, big thing. You know.
You know,
You
we're
would
talking
think.
about something, Mike, you want to control yourself and your
You
life.
better
and
believe
you
it. But I don't
be-
want to control my children now because I don't know what their interpretation of the American dream is. Because my kid might get to be 18 or 19 years old, look at me and say, Daddy, this is not what I want. Then all I tell them is, well, you are what, 18, 19, and you are free to find your dream. You know, I have found mine.
Okay.
If the kid goes back to the
No, wait,
barbecue pit and
I wanna
says,
hear-
gee, I don't like this.
Could we hear-
And Daddy, materialism. I don't want it. I want color TV.
The only thing I'm disturbed about,
let the kids
I'm
go.
disturbed again. I'm disturbed. I can't see why all the opposition, I can't see nothing wrong with a country that we have with the technology, and we went to the moon. We own everything. Why in the hell do we have to have this area here? Why do we have to have them high rises? Why can't we have more colleges? How come we have the things that I'm talking about? Now, I don't care what you call it. Now, what's wrong with it?
More college. Let's have better homes.
All my life, I wanted a house like I'm living in now. And the house is just as big as I am. It fits me. I don't have to bend down to reach the, bend down and get a sore back washing dishes. The sink is built where I can standing erect. It's built for a big person, and my house is like that. And it's quiet, and this is what I want, because I always lived in Chicago. I lived in bed that was in from wall to wall, and you had no room, just put maybe a small chair or a dresser in. And my niece used to come over, she says, Aunt Della, your house is always in confusion, because you could never, the quarters were so tight and small. But now, I worked hard for it. It isn't mine yet, like Leon says. I can get thrown out any time. I miss one payment, they can throw me out. But for the next 25 years, if I live, I'm safe.
So
Unless something else happens.
let me make
No.
this comment anyway.
This is the home that I'm living in.
Well, it's all right if that's,
And
if that's your
And
big
I
dream.
never had it. This is all my life. If I go broke, if anything else happens to me, I got 4 children, and they all have good education. They're all working, and they all got their own homes, except my youngest one. He doesn't want any yet. He's not ready for a new home, his own home. But I'm not sorry for what I went through. And my children are not begrudging my living in, now I'm scattered. My children are here, 3 of them in Chicago, 1 in California, and I'm in Arizona. I'm far away from my children, but I make friends easy. I have a lot of friends, and I'm comfortable. I never was that comfortable, and that, the word is serene. I am now.
Me and Leon was talking a while ago that about, I know a lot of guys from West Virginia, you know, and you get a lot of fellas that come from the South. They come in here, they make a living in Chicago, but I've yet to hear one of them say they like the town. They just boil it down to it's a working man's town,
Because
and
they
that's
gotta wear
it, you know.
shoes.
No. It's not because they got.
You can walk.
It's not because they got to walk.
laugh
It's
at.
not
It's
necessarily.
wonderful.
Hey, I'd like to take my own shoes off. There's
I
too much
like-
glass in the sidewalk.
I
you
love
know?
to walk. I love to walk barefoot, especially on fresh grass when there's dew on the grass.
One time
It's
I
wonderful.
hitchhiked through the
You're a
South with a
country
guy I
girl
knew.
at
That's
heart.
right.
Listen,
One time I
yeah.
hitchhiked through the South with a
Can't
guy
walk
I
on
knew, and
cement.
I've been more or less raised in the cities. And when, we'd be going somewhere, people say, "Hi, good morning." And I'd look at these people and I'd say, "What are they? Are they crazy or something?" You know, and he said, "No, Mike, that's the way they are.
Sure.
Very open, very friendly."
Become
You go to
a small
Chicago and you say, I lived in a building one time, I said good morning to a woman in an elevator.
Jeez,
And
had
she
you arrested-
complained to the owner of the building that I
Got
was
fresh
trying to
water.
molest her. You know. Good morning, that's all, you know. That's the way people are.
It's
in the
this
city,
kind
you
of
know.
fear. You were talking about something that's interesting. Mike was speaking about the Appalachian people, hillbillies they're called. They speak a home where they came from, not where they are. Many people, black people in the Deep South, use the same phrase, don't they? Home is where they
Homeboys,
came
down
from,
home.
not where they are. Well, George has been silent. What's your dream?
Well, insofar as material things are concerned, I think I've achieved most of it already. I have most of what I would want, you know. I am better off today than I have ever been in the past, and if things get no worse in the future, I am going to be one of the few fortunates. This constitutes about 75% of my life. I have derived a tremendous amount of satisfaction, and I have gone through many of the things, in fact, identical things that Della and Leon have gone through, even to the point where I was hungry and had to wait for the milkman to drop his milk off so that 10 minutes later I could go and steal it. Or go to the bread box when they left bread at the grocery store at 4 o'clock in the morning. Be sure you got there before the grocer come out and you took your bread or cake or whatever he left. I did this. I stole to eat. Now this is a fact. And the only regret I have now is that I didn't take a little more than I did.
I want to know what Jim's thinking. He's young. Here's Jim. He's born since the H-bomb. What's your dream?
I couldn't tell you about it. I really couldn't. It's a very personal thing. It's spiritual, really. And I don't think I would want to tell you about it. You know, and it's just an individual thing. That's
Well,
all.
let's put it another way. Not your personal dream. What kind of world would you like to see?
Well, as I said, for starters, I'd go along with what Leon was saying. You know, it'd be nice if everybody had, enough to eat, and a nice
Who's
place to
gonna wash
live.
the
and all that.
dishes?
Be nice if there were people to wash dishes and.
Whether they want to or not. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not talking
Automatic
politics.
dishwashers?
I read a story about this guy who
cooking the
dropped
food
out of
these
college and he went to a commune and everybody was saying, share and share alike, everybody should eat. So nobody cleaned houses, nobody wanted to wash the dishes, but everybody wanted to eat. Everybody wanted to, enjoy life.
What's wrong with that?
That's beautiful, but baby, somebody's got to clean the house. Somebody's got
Sure.
to wash the dishes. The
There's something wrong
affluence
with
we're
the-
talking about comes from hard work.
Sure. Did I say
The color
something to the
TV
contrary?
comes from hard work. You know,
Did
it comes from the hard work. It comes from hard work that the
Mike.
money that I paid for it comes from hard work.
Okay,
the people
Mike.
who put it together worked hard for it. It is not a thing you sneer at and say, "Oh, color TV, oh boy, this is affluent." Yeah.
Listen, Mike, if you want a color TV, if you want 10
The
color TVs, I don't give
people
a
work
damn,
for
really.
it. to put it together.
Great,
I
that's
work
fine,
for it
wow.
to buy it. There ain't a damn thing wrong with work or materialism.
That's really fine. I mean, that's
Well, I
great.
don't
If that
think-
makes you happy, Mike, that's
It
fine.
makes me happy
Great,
as hell.
that's good. That
I
doesn't
don't
make me
think a
happy.
work-
I don't want a
I-
color
And I
TV.
don't go to
I don't
church.
have a
and I
color
know what you're
TV.
talking about.
I don't own a color TV.
We're talking about
I don't have one, but I want one.
Now, wait a minute, listen.
Then you have to
Hey,
work
Ann,
and get one.
I
You
was
get a factory
talking
or
about
something. I don't know.
different